And when you just said that you told your sister, I pray to my people, taking the Harry Potter reference, I was feeling like she was a muggle and you were a wizard. I pray to my people. But all these experiences, all these miracles are so. I think only a person who is walking on this path, spiritual path, and who is with living enlightened master can only get such experience.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I think what only a person who is walking on the path can experience is this beautiful emotion of devotion and faith. What is your experience with faith?
Oh, well, you might make me cry on this one. So I have a really powerful story of faith and the unconditional love of the master and the incredible support of having Gurudev as your master. I had just moved from the United States to living at the German ashram, which was just a story in itself. I had a very small comfort level at the time because I'd had this glamorous jet set life, all the luxuries, and did not know what I was actually signing up for in moving to live in an ashram. I had no idea what an ashram would be like, no idea what being a devotee for a guru would be like. I just said yes and I went. So when I get to the German ashram, there was someone at the time who was running the ashram that just was constantly giving me, in my opinion or perspective at the time, a really difficult time. And I found it a challenge to live in such a small room for so long, and things weren't, it's a minimalist way of living. And the food, the language, the culture, the routine, all of it was a challenge for me because I ran my own show. I didn't have the discipline in the personal life that is required of a yogi. It was all new for me. So at one point, I really didn't know what to expect and where I was going to live. I owned a home in the United States that I enjoyed quite a bit. I had a couple of pets, I had friends, I had community, but now I was a full-time teacher. So at the end of my 6 months of living at the German ashram and getting through all the ups and downs of adjusting to this new lifestyle, Gurudev says to me, you can stay here for 6 months of the year, pick out any room you want. And you'll go back to the US and you'll stay there 6 months and you'll live here for 6 months. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, so again, pick out any room you want. And I thought, oh, okay, that sounds good. I said, but are you sure I can have any room I want? He said, yeah, sell your house in the United States, which that was a big pinch. I had just bought that house, I think, like 3 years earlier. I was going to have to get rid of it. I was going to have to get rid of my pets. But I was going to live at the German ashram, and I would see him a lot more often. So that, of course, to me was the best decision. So I asked again, you're sure, Gurudev? Any room I want? Yes, any room you want. So I went through the ashram, and of course, I picked out the biggest room, the end of a hall, a lot of privacy. I could come and go through this one door, be out in the garden. I was imagining how I was going to create maybe a little kitchen in there and make it a home. So I picked out this room and I went to the ashram manager at the time and said what Gurudev's instructions were to me and that this is the room I was going to take. And he promptly told me that Gurudev was playing a game with me and I was never going to get that room. In fact, he was going to room me with somebody and I would have a roommate. None of this was going to happen. And I was so irritated at what he said, and I didn't believe him at all. And I felt like he was just doing it because this guy was always giving me a hard time back then. And he said, you'll see. So I went back to Gurudev and I said, listen, I talked to so-and-so And maybe there's a misunderstanding. I chose a room, but he said, no way could I have that room. And Gurudev said, yes, you can. Pick out whatever room you want. I said, well, maybe you can talk to so-and-so. And Gurudev, made me think that it was all going to be all right. So I went back to the ashram manager and told him what Gurudev had said and that I had understood correctly and this is what I was going to take. And he again told me that it was not going to happen. I wasn't going to have any of that. And he just painted this picture of how uncomfortable he was going to make it for me. So I went back to Gurudev again and I said, I don't think this is going to happen. And maybe I shouldn't have that room. Something's not right here. He doesn't want to give it to me. I'm not sure how to work this out. Gurudev says, I'll talk to him. So I waited a few weeks and we had gone to Amsterdam and had the very first IAHV event in Amsterdam. And in the car on the way back, I said to Gurudev, is it all worked out? And Gurudev said, we'll meet, we'll talk. So I feel so assured, he's going to take care of me and everything's going to work out. And boy, is he going to give it to that ashram manager. He was so rude to me, so mean to me. It's me, I. So Gurudev calls me and this guy up to have a private meeting with him. And I think, boy, that guy's going to get it now. And what do you think happens? It was unbelievable to me. Gurudev says, Patti, who do you think you are? You are brand new as a full-time teacher. Other people don't have a room, even with their own bathroom. You can't have the biggest room in the ashram. Who exactly do you think you are? I'm stunned. What is he talking about? And of course, the ashram manager is sitting there, so smug that this happened. We end up having a conversation going back and forth between the three of us. I don't even know why Gurudev was spending his time on this conversation. At the time, I didn't get it. Now I know what was happening, and you'll find out at the end of the story. And all these scenarios were presented of what room I could have and would it have a bathroom and wouldn't it have a bathroom and when could I move in and when would I have to move out. And if people came to stay for courses, which they do every week, I'd have to pack all my stuff and move out. By the end of the conversation, I was back in the same tiny room I had with the same creepy bathroom that I had. And Gurudev looked at us and said, oh, is everybody happy now? And I said, happy? This is not happy. And I walked out. And I went to my room and I just said, after 6 months of trying to adjust to this whole new life, I burst into tears and said, that's it. I've made a big mistake. This life is not for me. I cannot live like this. I won't live like this. I don't know why he said one thing. He did another. I'm out of here. And I start packing my stuff up. I'm crying. I'm thinking, God, I'm going to have to face my friends and my family. They're going to say, I told you so. I just cried for 4 hours. And then I thought, it's satsang time. If I don't go to satsang, Gurudev's going to send someone looking for me. I don't want that drama. I'm going to go to satsang. So I go to satsang. I sit in the corner like this, just a cranky devotee. In the corner. Gurudev walks in and he used to play his cymbals back then and he's got his little cymbals and he's singing Jai 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 and he's smiling. He looks at me. He's like indicating I should smile and I'm just scowling at him. I'm angry with the world. I'm angry with the guru. I'm angry with the situation. I don't understand what's going on. Of course, he's smiling. Then he sits down and normally we would sing for a good amount of time before Gurudev would go into knowledge. He stops, he looks at me, and he said, we'll begin with knowledge tonight. And my friends turn around and look at me as if to say, are you listening? I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I was not in a happy place. I felt betrayed. And Gurudev starts to give a talk on faith that is been now given in teacher training for years, and I write about it in my book. He spoke about what true faith is, and that as devotees, we're holding butter in our hand and crying for ghee, and that it is his responsibility as his devotee that he has taken responsibility for us and that he will take care. And he also spoke about the power of prayer. And when you really think it's up to here and you don't know what to do, that this is the time that those prayers are sincere prayers and they are heard and that they are answered. So he spoke with such conviction about the master taking care of the devotee, and that he said, do you see the Vatican? They have taken a vow of poverty. Do you see the gold in the Vatican? You know that only the best will come to you, and you walk with that faith. You say to yourself, this time, come what may, I will make it. And my friends turned back and looked at me, and with those words, some memory stirred in me that I'd been on the path before. And because I wasn't able to expand my physical comfort zone, I'd missed out. I could just feel the memory, even if I didn't see it. And those words, you say, come what may, this time I will make it, invoked the valor in me. That I want to make it. I want to know something bigger than my small self. I want to expand my comfort zone because I know mediocrity in life, right? We all know mediocrity, but I'm not here for mediocrity. You're not here for mediocrity. I want to see the world as Guruji sees the world. I want to experience the infinity that Gurudev experiences. That's what I'm here for. So it means that I have some discomfort here and there. I'm with the Lord of the universe. All will come. Just relax, have faith, and keep moving forward. This is what I realized. And I realized too that, you know, the master, as he says, he's here to take us beyond logic. My logical mind was saying, but you said this and then that happened. Everything he did was destroying my concepts so that I could just be in acceptance and surrender and to be flexible and moving like the water with what is, without putting my resistance or my likes or my dislikes into the situation. I'm telling you this now, years later, because I'm realizing all that was happening at the time. In the moment of that time, I was deeply in my emotion, but his words invoked that valor and something did wake up inside of me. And this is a shortened version of the story, but I did, after that powerful talk he gave on faith, where he also said, the stairs to heaven are slippery and soapy, so you must hold on to the railing of knowledge. When he said that, I knew that knowledge was going to be my umbrella from that point forward like never before. And I went back to my room. I unpacked everything. And the next morning, I was supposed to take a train to Geneva because I was a liaison for the United Nations with IAHV at the time. And I got dressed up 5 a.m. to take the train, and I just tiptoed up to where Gurudev's suite is, and I bowed down to pranam, 5:30, 6 in the morning, something like that, to just pranam to him out of gratitude, and the door opened, and he was standing right there. He knew I was there. And he wished me well. We said our goodbyes. I went on to Geneva, and here I am, still walking the path with a deep conviction and faith in the divine.
Wow. So, Patti, there is so much more. There, I mean, these stories you are mentioning in a very short manner, and there is so much more to it. And we will have part 2, part 3, part 4 to it. Like we with other teachers, also some senior teachers, we have had some stories in different parts. But can we conclude today's session with some funny story?
I have a really good funny one.
Yeah.
And I think for those of you who are out there organizing courses and meeting obstacles and making those courses happen, hopefully you will appreciate this. So back in 2000, Gurudev had sent me now back to Texas and had me move to Austin, Texas to get that chapter going. And there was just myself and 2 other people. And we did everything back then, the 3 of us. And we were beginning to teach a little bit more at the university. That's when he wanted me to head up college programs. It was new for us back then. And he told me to make sure that I taught near the university. Well, in Austin, Texas, you know, the land is very expensive. It's a very hip area. We literally had no money. We were just starting a new chapter. I was a brand new full-time teacher. Nobody had any money. And I was teaching at the time in people's apartments, like bachelor housing, really low rent, near the university. It wasn't the proper place to be teaching the sacred knowledge. So after a while, I thought, I don't know what else to do. We don't have the money. We can't afford anything. He wants me to find a place to teach. So I just took a bunch of marketing brochures. We finally had marketing brochures by then, put them in my car and started driving around one day with pure intention that today I'm going to find something. It's going to happen. And I came up with an imaginary number that I could afford $200 a month for a facility where we would be able to lead satsang and we would be able to teach at least 1 course a month. I don't know where the $200 was going to come from, but that sounded like a number that we would be able to make happen if we taught enough. I see this building and it says Austin Groups for the Elderly, the age building. And I go in, it's close to the university, and it's an adult daycare facility where you drop your elderly parents off for the day and someone cares for them, plays games, they can paint and do clay modeling and things like that. And back then, people didn't know who Gurudev was in the US. So I go into the director and this man says, "Oh, Sri Sri Ravishankar, I know him. I used to work at the United Nations. He's the spiritual leader from India." And oh, my heart went pitter patter. He knows my guru. I was so excited. And he said, "You know, I think we can do something to help you out. I know you all do great work." Couldn't believe he knew it. So he goes into the executive director and she says, "Yes, I know who Sri Sri Ravi Shankar is. And the Art of Living, I know they do good work. We can give them a room for their budget." So he takes me around the building. It was a rather old building, but it was a perfect location. But every room was really small, way too small to hold a course. He then says, "Well, wait, there's one room available. There's an art class going on. So you can't say anything when you walk in, but let's see, it's in the dining room. See if you like that." Okay. He opens the door and you will not believe what I saw. I still couldn't believe it and can't believe it as I'm telling you. There was a naked, full naked 75-year-old man sitting on a stool. I'm in shock. What is that about? And it was an art class for life drawing. It was how people learn to draw the body as artists. And the man who was giving me the tour said, "Is the room going to work for you?" And I'm thinking, I don't even know where to put my eyes. I don't know what to do. I just said, it was a big room. I said, "Yeah, okay. Yeah, the room works for me." And we left. After that, I needed to catch my breath. And I said to him, "Where's your bathroom? I really need to use your restroom." And he said, "It's down the hall, but be careful. It's haunted." Now I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I used to be scared of ghosts and things that go bump in the night. I was a brand new teacher. I didn't know any better. And I said, "Where are the ghosts?" He said, "They're in the ladies' restroom." So I go to the ladies' restroom and I'm saying, "Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, Jai Gurudev, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar," like to protect myself. I come out And I say, I'll get back to you about the room. Thank you so much. Email was new back then, and Guruji reading an email or sending Gurudev an email, it was really very, very rare. So rather than say what happened with the naked man in the drawing class, I just sent Gurudev a funny note that said, it's very interesting being a full-time teacher. Oh yeah, I did send him the note, about the funny thing that happened in looking for a room, but I didn't say anything about it being haunted, because I was desperate for a place to teach, and I wanted to figure out if it would be okay to teach there or not. And I didn't want to get a no because I didn't have any other option. So I thought about it, and I talked to friends, and back then I didn't know the puja yet. So my friend said, just light incense and say Om Namah Shivaya, and that you can clear the air, light some camphor. I said, okay. But I still wasn't sure. Is it okay? Is it really haunted? Was that guy just saying it? I just didn't know what the right thing was to do. So one morning I get up and I get a cup of tea, and I just look up to the heavens, and I said, just like this, just once, Gurudev, I would like to know that you hear my prayers. I just don't know what to do about teaching there. I just wish you would show me once that you hear my prayers. Like that. And all of a sudden, I feel like I should go in my office and look at my computer. But I don't know why. I didn't ask anybody anything. I wasn't anticipating an email from anyone. I just felt a strong pull to go into my office and open up my computer. So I listened to the pull. I went in, and to my absolute surprise, there was an email from Gurudev's office. And there was a line that said, Gurudev says it's okay to teach in that building. I just stared at that. I never asked him that question. I just quietly prayed to myself for the right answer to come. And I fretted and I worried and I was nervous about it. And right when I said, I want a sign that you hear my prayers, there it is on my computer. I remember touching the computer and going, you're good. You're really good. Meaning Gurudev is good. 10 years later, on that same car ride in Telluride, Colorado, I was recounting the story with Gurudev in the car and some other people, and quietly Gurudev says, I did not send that letter from this plane of existence. And I said, what? Excuse me? I did not send that letter from this plane of existence. I said, I knew it. I knew there was something about that letter. He had sent it, however he works, from another dimension. It's just another story that shows we don't know who we're with. We don't know how he knows. But I tell you, I have story after story of how he knows where each and every one of us is, what we're thinking, what we're praying for, and we're always with him. And he's always with us. Okay, that's it.
Beautiful story, Patti. And I would like, this is the first time I'm recording with you. And let me tell you this, I love you. Beautiful stories. I was getting goosebumps here, and it's so true. It's so touching. And we can't wait to listen to to all your other Guru stories. We have 21 of them, and we have only covered 3. So we all of you stay tuned. There is so much to come from Patti, and there is this book you can see. It is scrolling. You can order your book, which will have so many Guru stories. I just asked on faith, and there were so many Guru stories. I just asked on funny moments, and there are so many Guru stories. So there's so many Guru stories in our book. Please order. There is so much to learn. There are so many insights, and it is very important, especially in the times like now, to have that faith very strongly within you. That Gurudev is there. Thank you, Patti, for your time today. See you tomorrow. Jai Gurudev.